This is a story of how I took this $5,000 card and doubled its value without even physically touching the card. Alright, the story is coming up. Viewer warning advice, this is not for everybody, as nobody's as crazy as me. Stick around. So the story begins when I saw this card, 1997 Essential Credentials Future Anthony Petty Hardaway number 277 raw, okay, on eBay. Now with these, it's an iconic card, 97 insert, awesome looking card. Obviously everybody knows about this insert, and the recent sales on this 97 insert is basically all in PSA 6s. I think there was the last comp for about like 5,500 around that price, okay? And normally when you see these kind of inserts pop on eBay raw, you got asked a lot of questions on, number one, is it real? Number two, what kind of hidden damage or condition issues? That's actually why keeping this card from being graded all this while. So that's a huge question mark to myself, and of course, potentially a big red flag to a lot of people. But since this card was authenticity guaranteed by eBay, AG, or what we sometimes call, right? So I had a little bit of protection in terms of whether this card was authentic. So the only thing was, what was the condition? Now, of course, those who are familiar with the 97 Essential Credentials, it's kind of like a layered card, so there's multiple layers sticking on top of each other, you know, making this absolutely gorgeous looking card. And these layers tend to peel, especially on the corners and the edges on the sides as well. So, and that's why a lot of these cards don't come in very high grades. You know, PSA 8 is considered like the top range, and 6s or 5s and 6s are considered maybe on average, is what you call an average grade. And that's what I expected from this card, assuming it was authentic. So of course, you know, price wise, you know, it's a fair assumption that you do not want to pay more than what a PSA 6 would be valued, and that's exactly what I paid, $5,300 on this Penny Hardaway. So the next question is, I'm going to send it to PSA, but how was I going to send it to PSA? So normal circumstances is I would of course buy this card and have it shipped all the way back to Malaysia, inspect the card and send it all the way back to the US to PSA to get it graded. But in this case, I was just thinking to myself, assuming that this card is authentic, which I believe it was, okay, I was going to send it to PSA anyway. So, and the fastest way for me to do this was to send it directly to PSA from the US without actually flying all the way back to Malaysia. And this is a precursor of what we're going to have today, what we see today, whereby eBay working with PSA to directly ship your purchases to PSA for grading. And so this is where Fanatics Collect come in, right? This video is not sponsored by them. This is a service that I use very frequently, whereby I use the direct vault to PSA grading service that do actually provide, which is slightly different from some of the other vaulting service that you see out there. So Fanatics Collect offer a direct PSA submission for grading for cards that are entering the vault. So for this particular Anthony Petty Hardaway, I sent it directly to my vault and directly to grading on the Express, as you can see here. Of course, the timing wise, you know, it's a bit longer compared to if you send it direct to PSA, but the danger was, all right, there is no prior inspection by anybody, you know, not even Fanatics Collect themselves, right? So the moment it went through AG, it was off to the vault and it's off to PSA. I had nothing to work with aside from the photos that you can see here on eBay. So it looked pretty clean. Obviously, you know, it's not gonna get a PSA 8, right? It's not gonna even get it better than that. So PSA 6 was like the very minimum that I was hoping, which was decent enough for me, and I would recover my cost, or depending on when I choose to sell it, and maybe make some money. Okay, so after some excruciating waiting time, okay, this was the result. So there it is, PSA 7, boom, pop 3, only one graded higher, which makes this a huge win in my opinion. So really, you know, heart-pounding experience of getting this one. You know, I've done this direct to PSA grading through the vault service numerous times for cards valued maybe $1,000 or less. This is the first time that I put in a $5,000 card directly to the vault for grading, and to achieve this kind of result, Wonderful. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this. A little bit of experience to share with you on how this particular card came about. It's very rare that a new 90s insert, iconic 90s inserts popped into PSA today, because there is not that many raw copies that's left in the wild. So this is one of them. Plucked it from eBay, took it through a ride for PSA, and got absolutely smashing great for this one. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Till next one, do follow, like, and subscribe. Thanks again. Cabos out.